Alright people, we are back again today with an exciting match against Caddy. I believe this is our first battle in Scarlet and Violet, but for those of you who are veterans to the channel, you guys know we've had many a battle with Caddy, and they are always trying to use, some of the lesser known Pokemon, but he uses them to great extent, and this is no exception. They've got the Grafaiai in the grassy terrain, hoping to make use of the Unburden. They also got like Jolteon and Armarouge. I've got my Garganachi, the Ganachi, we got Rotom Wash, the Terra Steel Scizor, but we've also got the Pincurchin plus the Iron Thorns. I really want this Iron Thorns to put in work. Oh, and this is going to be post-com, by the way, because unfortunately for me, my headphones were not plugged in all the way. I hate it. These headphones, they just keep coming unplugged. Funny story about this headphone jack, I had one of those little beads from my laptop case stuck in there for like years. And it took me forever to get them out, all throughout college. But then whenever I started the channel, I had to get them out, so I finally got it. Either way, they lead off with the Arboliva. I almost Spadef Ganachi, but they still 2 at KO, and I'm like, well, at least I got my rocks up. So I think at this point, I'm just going to try to stay in. I don't know if the leftovers might help me avoid 2 at KO if they get maybe a low roll and that was a high roll. But I think either way, I'm probably just going to... Oh, no, wait. I think I've probably thought about this. And I was like, you know what? Ganachi could probably use versus the Armarouge. I know that they're either going to go for an Earth Power or another Energy Ball, and Hard Body Baby can easily come in here and do a pretty good chunk. So that's my plan. And I know that either way, if they get up grassy terrain here, I can at least go out in my own Pincurchin, or my own Terrain Setter and Pincurchin, and get rid of it. So they go for a Strength Sap, and they're going to lower my attack by 1. That's okay in this scenario, because I can just keep on SDing up in this scenario and not have a problem. So I think they see this coming. They don't want to lose this, because they want to, at some point, try to override my Electric Terrain, because otherwise their Grafaiai is stuck without the ability to get Unburden. So we're going to SD up here. Now, I had heard in one of Blunder's videos that +1 Terra Steel Bullet Punch guaranteed OHKOs the Dragapult after rocks. And this was the exact situation that I was in, so I was like, alright, this is it. I'm finally going to get to use this thing, and finally get to use it to its fullest extent. So, we're going to go for the +1 Technician Terra Steel Adaptability Bullet Punch versus the Dragapult at like 87.5%, and it doesn't kill. And I'm like, what? I was lied to. There's no way. Turns out they were max HP. They are a support Dragapult, and unfortunately my only way of removing or having priority versus this thing is gone. So I'm like, well, crap. Now, looking back on it, maybe it would have been better to just kill the... Did I end up killing... I don't know. I'm going to be honest with you. So I end up switching out, and it probably would have been better just to get rid of this thing. Though I guess I just assumed if they were to ever switch out that, they would die to rocks at that point. But I didn't want to get Flamethrower. They go for a Reflect. And unfortunately, this could allow them to get up both hazards. So I think I made a bit of a misplay there. I guess I just assumed they had Will-O-Wisp or Flamethrower. And I'm not sure if they're dead to rocks. So maybe I should have just killed it there. So they go out into Olivia. They're going to try to get up their grassy terrain for their Grafaiai. So I'm just going to go for Spikes, because at this point, if the rocks didn't kill, the rocks plus Spikes certainly will. And I'm going to keep going for them, just because I know that I can live a hit. They go for Earth Power. I am max HP. I think I'm max defense, if I'm not mistaken. But I knew I could at least live 1. And I'm going to let the Electric Terrain stay up here, I think. I'm just going to go out into Cyclizar, I guess, and get off a Shed Tail. That would make sense. Either of those would probably work. Well, I don't know. Maybe it would take too much is what I was thinking. I could also just go back out into Scizor at this point, which it looks like is what I'm going to do. I am pure Steel, though, so the Earth Powers are going to hurt now, because it's not neutral anymore. And Grassy Terrain, well, even if Grassy Terrain went up, Earth Power will be unaffected. So they go for an Energy Ball, probably expecting me to go out in the road, and that's why I didn't want to go out in the road in case they went for the... This thing hits hard, man. It's got, what, like 125, 120 base special attack. So at this point, I can go for the pounce. On anything wants to come. It's technician boosted. They're gonna withdraw out. They're gonna save this thing because they know if they lose it, then that's it. So maybe it would have been better to CC, honestly, because Dragapult would be dead either way. So I probably should have done that, assuming the Corviknight would come in. Because at this point, I am super weak to their body presses. If they have it, that is. And if I go for close combat right away, then it's gonna take even more from it. So I go for the SD. Now we're straight up +2 instead of just the +1 from before. They go for defog, so that kind of sucks because all my hazards are gone. Obviously, if I had Goldingo, we'd be much better off, but you know, sometimes I'd just be spamming Goldingo too much, and I'm like, you know what, I need to lay off the Goldingo. I can't be using standard too much because then it would just be too easy. So I'm +2, and I'm like, well, I don't know, how much is close combat gonna do? Their Armarouge could just come in at any point and eat up any hit that that I could go for. And now that the rocks and spikes are gone, they don't really have much of a reason to avoid coming in. So in comes the Armarouge. Takes absolutely nothing from close combat. I wonder if they're max HP, max defense assault vest. That's so crazy. I get that it's not stab, but this is +2 adamant scissor. So this thing is super bulky. At this point, I think, looking back, I probably should have just gone Spin Cycle. I don't know why. I think I went Garganashi just because I assumed it wouldn't be able to take a Aura Sphere or whatever they went for. And I wanted to keep Rotom healthy. So I was like, well, one of my tanks is already half gone, so I'll just sack it off. But turns out with its max Spadef, it could live. And I'm like, well, dang, Garganashi, look at you go. There goes the Reflect. Oh, I always forget about the Reflect. That's why it took so little. It would have taken like 50. I keep forgetting about that darn Reflect from that Dragapult, man. And that's the thing, though. It's not done yet. So yeah, big misplay on me, not just straight up attacking into the Dragapult. I really wish I would have done that because now there wouldn't have been any more Reflects. But now hazards are gone and it can just come back in. So I made some clear misplays here. But gonna go for the Hydro Pump just because it's super effective. I know it's Assault Vest, but I know it should still do a good chunk. Oh, never mind, we're going for Volt Switch. I guess that makes much more sense because obviously they're gonna switch out into something else. But the Hydro Pump would have been much better. See, because I was just thinking they had Jolteon in the back. Yeah, I'm live reacting to this because I can't remember everything that happened. If I would have Hydro Pump there, then I could have just 2-hit KO'd it right then and there. And I go for a Will-O-Wisp here just in case they go for a Volt Switch out into something else. And I miss, so yeah, the misplays are really coming through for me here. But I know that as long as I can get in my, as long as I can get the terrain up and get Iron Thorns Dragon Dancing up, I know that I can win. I just have to get through it. So I'm going to put it all on black here. I think I said that in the game. So I'm going to get my terrain up. Because here's the thing. Even though they do have grassy terrain, my logic was I'll get the Quark Drive boost initially, and then if they end up setting off the grassy terrain with their Arboliva, the booster energy will then activate after the fact. And I was kind of trying to test it out, see if they both activate or just one. So that was kind of my logic. Even though it might have been better to just keep up the electric terrain to get a boost in terms of both Quark Drive and Thunder Punch. So we're going to Shed Tail out. And this dang Dragapult should have been dead to Pounce ages ago, because that probably would have killed it. I'm wondering if I should just put U-turn on it instead. Either way though, we go on Agent Zilla here. And he's behind us up, he's got his Quark Drive going, and I am free to just start Dragon Dancing up. Now, the way that Infiltrator works, I wasn't sure if they were Infiltrator or not. But because they're Infiltrator, they can't break my sub. I just get to stay in and chill. And because of how bulky Iron Thorns is, I know that I can live a hit. So they're going to get their Reflect up, like I said. If this thing was gone, it wouldn't have been a problem. I've been harping on this too much, you guys already know. But we're getting Iron Thorns up to +1. We're sitting pretty. We've got our Quark Drive, we got our +1 speed. I know that Dragapult is probably still going to outspeed me at +1, even though I am jolly max speed. That's just how fast Dragapult is in terms of, or in reference to Iron Thorns. So, get off another Dragon Dance. And I still get to keep up my sub. So we can just safely go for a T-Punch here. No problemo. I'm pretty sure, or even an Earthquake, I guess. That'll kill too. Yeah, the only thing is though, is that when the grassy terrain is set up again, my Earthquakes will be weakened. But for some reason, whenever you'll see later on, I wasn't thinking about that as much. So, +2 Iron Thorns behind a sub is pretty threatening, with a Quark Drive too. Now check this out. So, my best play here is to go for Stone Edge because they resist 2 of my hits. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to hit 2 Stone Edges since I let them keep their Dragapult to get up another Reflect. Otherwise, this thing would have just been dead. So I have to go for 2. So at this point, they're going to break my sub by going for an Energy Ball. I haven't teared. Oh, I already teared. This is all my bad. You're right. So Booster Energy comes through. Earth Power comes through. +4. ×4 super effective. So it's really going to come down to if I miss this Stone Edge or not, then I am screwed. Royally screwed, because I don't think that a Thunder Punch is going to kill this thing behind a Reflect. But we take it out, thankfully. Thank goodness. So, +2 Iron Thorns. We're still getting Recovery too, which is what I wanted as well. And any Earthquakes versus me are weakened. So, in comes the Grafaiai. So, this is where it all comes down to. They've got their Unburden. I've got my +2. I know they're going to be faster than me, but at the very least I can go for... Now, here's the thing. I was calculating in my head, and the calcs in my head were off, because I wasn't even assuming that they would Terra, but I was just thinking, oh, well, you know, it would do more. But they Terra, so they get rid of their Poison typing, and Earthquake is weakened in the grassy terrain. Either way, from what I calc, the Stab Thunder Punch still does more than Earthquake, so really big misplay on my part by not just going for T-Punch, because you'll see they still have the Reflect up. They're going to take absolutely nothing from this. So now I'm going to go for a Thunder Punch like I should have originally. So now they get to go for a Stab knockoff essentially versus me. Thankfully my Booster Energy is gone, but +2's knock still does a heck of a lot. And as you can see, if I would have just gone for the Thunder Punch, I think that would have done just enough. Because it's, what was it, like 117 versus 100? 75 times 1.5. 112 versus 100 base power. And not to mention that Earthquake was halved in power. So, 2 Thunder Punches would have easily done it for me there. And I probably could have swept from there because the Reflect was gone. And I'm like, ugh. Because the thing is, unfortunately for me, even though I have this powerful Sizzle at full HP, they still have the Armor Rouge in the back. And even though I have a Rotom Wash, they still have the Jolteon in the back. So all these misplays have just culminated across the course of this battle. From me not killing the Dragapult to prevent it from getting a Perplex, to me going for Volt Switch instead of Hydro Pump versus the Jolteon and getting in a range of 2 another Hydro Pump, to then me Earthquaking in the grassy terrain. Just not a great look for me. I can't lie. They did get off. They were able to kill the Iron Thorns with the Grafaiai, so I can't blame them. So obviously my only play is to go out into Rotom Wash. I have kept it. It's not even at full anymore because it took a freaking Volt Switch from the Jolteon, man. So I can't even take this thing out anymore. Probably would have been better to just... honestly, maybe it'd been better to sack off the Cyclozar. Though I'm not sure. Now, because they're max defenses, I'm assuming Rotom Wash probably outspeeds them. This time, obviously, I can go for a Hydro Pump. I don't know why I didn't just do that before. Imagine if I would have done that initially, and I could have just gotten off a Hydro Pump, and then gotten him in range of another. Now either way, we just died of Volt Switch, though. And now the Armarouge just gets to come in. Is that their last one? I think it might be their last Mon. So, I do thankfully have at least some form of attacking move on this thing. I can go for knockoff. I don't know how much it's going to do. Oh no, they still got 3 Pokemon. Good grief, man. Who else do they have? They still have freaking Corviknight? Man. Nah, dude. Aura Spirit, we're gonna get wrecked here, I'm afraid. Yeah, there's just not much that we can do at this point. But that's gonna be GG's to Caddy, though. Epic Grafaiai sweep, man. Even though I am only Steel type, I'm pretty sure this Armor Cannon is easily gonna take me out. But let's find out. See how much the Terra Bullet Punch does. Not even a... I'm not even sure if that's 2 a KO. Very close. But yeah, Armor Cannon easily going to take me out. And that's going to be GG's. You make enough misplays and there's no coming back, folks. That's okay, though. Happy to have Caddy get off some work with his Grafaiai. And we'll see you guys in the next Scarlet and Violet Wi-Fi battle. Bye-bye.